Welcome back, everybody. Last week, we learned about the basics of Python. Actually, it's not only the basics of Python, the basics of every programming language. So I have to remind you what we have covered last week. We just used the print function. I think by now you should know what a function means. For instance, print is a built-in function and it takes different arguments. This one has, for instance, one argument, and the argument data type is actually a string, as you can see. And this one, the second print function, as you can see, is taking many arguments, 1, 2, 3, 4. 3 of them are actually string data types, but this one is number. So as you may understand from this line, print function can take unlimited number of arguments. And then we learned about writing comment. What's the importance of comment? Just to leave some remark on our code to make it maintainable and reusable and to write clean code. For instance, to describe this print function, I can leave some comment over here and everybody can understand what this means. Yeah, so it's important for you, for colleagues, or for maybe people on the internet that read your code. So this is a single line comment, and this is a multi-line comment this way or this way. Yep, as you can see. I think this is just additional what I wrote, but we will talk about this today. And then we learned about different built-in function. You may close your video. You will be recorded. Your video will be recorded also. Okay, we learned also different built-in function. As you can see, the print, the type, round, int, float, stir, input, length, sum, min, max, and the list, tuple, dictionary, evaluate, absolute value, bool, enumerate, map, filter, ID, sort, sorted, set, and zip. Actually, we have seen all these built-in function last week. And then we saw how to use, when to use them. Do you have to really remember all of them now? No, you don't have to. Whenever you need them, you can search online and you go to the official documentation or on Stack Overflow and you can make use of this method. You don't have to remember everything, but it exists. If you know it exists, then it's just okay, and that's good enough. And this actually is the example we have used last week, so it would be too much to go through. Then what are we going to learn today? As you can see, this is what we have learned. We have seen about variables, we have seen about operators, we have seen about data types, and we have seen built-in function and custom function. For instance, this is a custom function, if you remember. But we can also go through today. List, set, tuple, the different data types, loops, conditionals, and functions. Maybe I like to start from loops. Maybe even it's better to start a list. Who is familiar with list? Are you really familiar with list? Can you type one for me if you're really familiar to list? Who needs revision for list or who wants to learn list? You may type yes if you want to, and if you want, you may, I need to learn list, you may write. If so, that's how I know. Can you write, show me some sign that you want? If you don't, I just move on. I may skip that part. Yeah, I think it seems that everybody knows list, so it doesn't need to learn. Actually, yeah. And Okay. How many of you know loops very well? Okay, it doesn't take much. So let's just move on to starting with loops, okay? Loops.py. And just I called it loops. And in Python, actually, you have loops, and the loops are while and for loop. Most of the time, we have this for loop. I can just do for loop first. And to create a for loop, actually, in Python, we use the range built-in function. What is the range built-in function give us? If I put something like this, and if I store this, for instance, LC, I am just storing some values here. And let me show you by printing out the value LST. I will get a range between 0 and 2. As you can see, 0 and 2, and then I can change actually this list, but by using the list constructor or built-in function, I can change this to a list, and that's from 0 to 2, 0, 1, 2. And by default, the starting is actually 0, and the increment is actually by default 1. And yeah, that's how it is. For instance, if I change this to 11, I am now creating a list from 0 to 10. 0 to 10. And I can also change actually the increment by 2. If I change it, as you can see, 0 to 10. Now you can change it. If you, how many elements do you expect here, guys? I'm expecting only, I think it could be 3 elements. 0, 5, and 10. Yeah, 0, 5, and 10. So now, for instance, evens is actually a variable that's going to store even numbers between 21, and I want to just increment by 2. And if I just say evens, I am storing actually even numbers, as you can see, 0, 2, 4, 6, 8. Yeah, it goes. And if you change this to up to 101, so actually the plan is actually to store all even numbers from 0 to 100. Yep, great. How about if we want to do the same for odd numbers? I can change this to odds. And then I can change this one to 1. But if I print out, it will be quite a lot, but it's okay. List, and again, odds. As you can see, the first is actually from up to here. It's all the even numbers from 0 to 100. And this is all the even, why? Because actually I have to start from 1, and the increment should be again 2. And that's how you get the odd numbers. Yep, these are all odd numbers. Now, how do we write for loop? We say for in a list. For instance, in a list, I can say 0, 1, 2, or 3, maybe 2. And then for I, it's just a common way to say I, but you can say for a, for whatsoever, or for number. I can say for num, print num, as you can see. Now I'm printing this. Okay, similarly, this means actually we can write this. Range means this, right? I can call, yeah, 0 to 1. And if you want also print maybe, for instance, yeah, you can print from 0 to 100. Oh, that's quite a lot, but I should, because it doesn't include the last. So if I want to print from 0 to 100, it should be 101, like this. And do you have to start all the time from 0? You can start from 50 if you want. This allows me to print actually 50 to 100. I can also increment by 5. And let's see this value, guys. As you can see, 50, 55, 60, something like that. So now at the meantime, if I ask you, add all numbers from 0 to 100. 0 to 100. So you should say, okay, total. You should say 0. Let's start from 0. And then actually, if I told you, then we have to do something like this. Instead of just printing these values, we can say total is equal to total plus none. So this is good enough. And instead of printing every now and then, I can print the total. And let's see. As you can see now, I have printed this. Yeah, great. And this is how you use for loop. How do we make while loop? While is actually something you write, and then you will have a condition here. And then you may do some task over here, and then you should increment every now and then. Okay, for instance, I can say, you can say A is equal to 5 or 3. And then, oh no, and then maybe I can say A is less than, no, I can start from 0, guys, just 0. If A is less than 3, I can say print A, and I have to increment every time. The increment will be A is equal to A plus 1. So let's now see the value. As you can see. As you can see, I managed to print again 0, 1, 2. Can I go, for instance, if I say up to 10, up to 11, this allows me to print from 0 to 10, as you can see. Yeah, so this is how you write. Then I think most of the time we use a for loop. For loop is very powerful. You just say for I in range, and then you want to pass the number of times you want to loop for, most of the time 10 times, just, and print I is common. Is it just printing? Can we do other operation? Why not? Let's do other operation. How about multiplying? That's great. Yeah, even we can do I cube, right? I times this. Yeah, we're getting different value. Maybe we can even do this string interpolation, or what is this called? Formatting. Let's just, you remember how to inject this value. So I can say I, and then times I is equal to this, right? And then I can say even. No, we don't need this, just to show you some trick. Yeah, as you can see, 0 times 0, 1, 1 times 1, this, and something like that. So I just managed to, okay, this is for loop, and you can do whatever you want with for loop. For instance, if we have some list like this, I will show you countries. I have some list over there. I have a list over here, and the list is actually list of countries. You can say for C in countries, print all the C if you want. You can print them, as you can see. Yeah, from Finland to Iceland, right? From Finland to Iceland. Okay, we can change them to uppercase if we say to upper. Or maybe let's check the length of the country. Or maybe we can slice also the country code, C to upper, and then we can slice, that means the first 3 characters of a country. You may see, as you can see, hey, Finland, oh, the uppercase got 7 characters and the country code is something like this. Oh yeah, but as you can see, we're just printing out. Printing out doesn't mean anything. You should really like do some task or execute something. Now, as you can see, I'm changing it to a list. Then I have to append this like list of countries, and then I want to append this to my, I can append it. I can say list of list dot append, and then this value. And then if I do print list of list, you will see some, have you seen? Oh yeah. Sometimes if you don't like this kind of formatting, we can import from pprint, import pprint. Pprint is nice when we print it format, it prettify our value. As you can see, oh yeah, it's better, right? It's better to look at. Oh yeah. So let's move on. Now we are done with loops. Great. Now let's move on to.
I wanted to ask if I can ask, why did you? There was the letter F when you did the list, the first in the top here. Here exactly where your mouse is in the left side, when like 4i in range 11, then print F. What is the F? What is it? Is role?
That's very good. The F allows me to inject variable. Now, when I is coming here, it keeps the value. The first time it will be 0, and the second time it comes with 1, 2, and I will have, and then here also, I will do the calculation, the calculation, the mathematical calculation. That happens because of the F. If not, it will be considered as in just a string.
Okay, so basically it's incrementing the I.
I would say using the value, injecting value. Let me just, I think this is very important. Let's say first name is my name, okay?
Yes.
So, and then let me just say last name is my, and my age, and everybody knows it is 250, okay? So I want to say this thing. If I want to say I am Sabine Itaye, I am 150 years old. This is good enough. I want to generate this text, okay? If I want to generate this text, now let me comment this out. I can generate this in 2 methods by string concatenation. So let's create first full name and define first name class last name, right?
Yes.
And now what I should do, I have to say I am class last name. Is it clear so far?
Yes, yes.
Class again, as you may see, I have, and then class I am class age. Now actually this is not last name, it should be full name.
Okay.
And plus the age, right?
Yes.
The age. So let's see the result from here.
Okay, so you're using the...
Yeah, I made a mistake somewhere, can only concatenate string. So, you know, as you can see, I have to change this to a string. So I have to use the stir method first to change it. Yeah, not stir, because string, the number, number and string cannot be concatenated. But now I got this, let's see, plus again, years old. So this concatenation is old way of concatenation. Very old way of concatenation. Now we have this very good concatenation, p print, this f string, the f string. Yes, it's very good. What you should do is just you inject data. For instance, you may say, if you do this, if you do something like this, now I have 10. This means actually 20. I can calculate.
Yes.
As you can see. So this F allows you to use to operation. It's not like only
to combine two operations together instead of using the plus, or
yes. At the same time, the curly bracket is actually the place where the Python code can execute. In addition to string, this allows you to execute conditions, operations, all those kind of things.
Okay.
Yeah. So now, for instance, I may say is equal to 20. Yeah, let's see.
Yes.
But this doesn't really make sense. But if you say, for instance, 10 times 2. Have you seen now? This will remain, but this is the place where the calculation happened because of the curly bracket. Let me show you. Oh yeah, but now it's 8. Let me show you. Let's make A 10 and B 2 and replace it with a variable A times B, because we prefer to have dynamic data that can come and change. That's why we call variables, right? And now I should get again the same value. How about if I change this? Of course, my result also change, but this didn't change. Still, it's wrong, right?
Yes.
So what I should fix it? How can I fix that? Okay, let's see now. Oh yeah, but now how about if I change this one? Still, as you can see, I am getting 2000, but still this one is multiplied by 2 because I'm not using the dynamic data again here. But after this, since I'm getting dynamic data from every side, if I change this to and change this, whatever, I will be correct. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yes, that's why we are actually okay, what was the question? Yeah, here. So maybe just to, for instance, let's do the countries again. For C in countries, now, for instance, you're printing the country, right? And let's see one by one. For instance, if I want to concatenate with this, you may say, okay, print F, I live in this, I live in, you can just say C. Okay. And again, C is a very beautiful beautiful, whatever, country. Let's see. So as you can see, I'm injecting the coming variable here. So I live in Finland, and Finland is a very beautiful country, and it goes for all the items. As you can see, I live in Finland. Finland is a very beautiful country. Of course, in this case, even you can use the old way of string concatenation, but this F string is very powerful, guys. I recommend you that. Okay.
Yes. Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay, great. Let's move on to now I would prefer to go to Conditionals. Guys, are you familiar with conditionals? Can you type one for me if you guys are conditionals familiar? It seems that everybody's conditionals, so they don't want to learn conditionals. Okay. Are you familiar with functions? Yes. 0 is no, 1 is okay. Okay, even though if you want me functions, not so, yes. So let's learn functions. Oh yeah, I don't want to skip functions, guys. Functions.py. Okay, great. Functions. Can you tell me what function is at the first place? What is this function? What does that mean? Yeah. Function is actually a block of code that perform a certain task. And it would be nice if the task is actually single task. Function, it can be reused. Once you make a function and you can use that function all the time, it becomes reusable and maintainable and testable. Yeah, it's so easy. So how do we create a function? And at the first place, we have different functions, built-in function, built-in functions. Built-in functions, they exist there. You don't have to think about them. For instance, I don't have to think about how they made the print function. I know it exists and it allows me to give some input and it gives me some output. For instance, hey, I love Python. It is 2021 and something. So as you can see, it's a function. When I am doing like this, I'm calling this function, the print function, and passing 3 arguments to get some output. That's the principle, okay? Great. Yes, we are coming, Jensen. Jensen, we are coming to that. Yes, so this is a built-in function. So we don't have to worry about built-in function. It has been declared and created there, and it's available for you to use. Yeah. For instance, if I want to make use of the max actually allows you to calculate the maximum value of some numbers. 1, 2, 10, minus 10. What's the value for this? What do you expect from this? So I'm using the max built-in function to get or to know the maximum value among this list, among these candidates or arguments. What's the value for you? Which one is the maximum? I would say 10 is the maximum, right? Yeah. And of course, if you go for a mean, what would be the minimum here for you? Of course, minus 10 would be the minimum. Oh yeah, how about if we go for sum? The sum actually doesn't work. The reason why, but let's see if it's working or not. Yeah, the sum doesn't work because the sum is actually takes a list. So maybe if you add this with this, it will be 0 and the sum of these numbers will be, you tell me guys, then I think I'm expecting 3. Oh yeah, so these are built-in functions I don't have to think about. Of course, I have to know how to use them. Then there is built-in function. I mean, custom function. Custom functions, and we have to create them. Yeah, we have to create ourselves, and let's do. For instance, how do we create a custom function? We have to use the def. The def keyword, it's a keyword, then followed by name of your function, okay? And then followed by a parenthesis. And then colon. and then you can say print I am a function. Oh yeah, as you can see now, you wrote your first function. What is the name of this function? The name of this function is actually name of your function. I called it. Later, I will give it a better name. So to make use of this function, if I run this, I don't get any value because I have to call that function, name of your func. Okay, let's run. As you can see, I am a function. Okay, let's change it to a better name. Print string. The name, okay. Let's now, as you can see, I don't have that function, so I have to say it print string. The name is print string. Yeah, so I can say function that prints a string. Yeah, great. But let's change it to print name. Print full name. It's better, right? Full. Yes. Print full name. And then maybe I can say let first name and someone's name. John Doe. Last name. And then you can do concatenation and full name, someone's first name, plus last name, right? So instead of just doing now, I can pass full name. And I have to change this to print full name. Yeah, it printed out my name. Guys, but in a function, if you don't return anything from your function, you are returning none in Python. So I have to return it. I have to return this value. So returning means actually saving a value or storing a value in this function. So what we are storing after we process whatsoever, we are actually storing it. Now, if I run, I don't get anything because I have to, there's no anywhere printing. So I have to print this value. Now I should get my name. So do you think this function is a very good function? As you can see, the name is very good. It says print full name and it prints someone's full name. Still very good name. And the task is actually, it got a single task and that's very good. It's easy to test. But most of the time, if a function doesn't have actually, I can say first name, last name, if it doesn't have this argument, you can't reuse it that much, okay? So to make it more robust, let's make use of this thing. I can say first name and I can say last name. So as you can see, these parameters are placeholders. Yeah, they are placeholders. And now since it has two parameters, I have to give it an argument here. Yeah, in the place of the placeholder, I have to give it the value I want to be an output, right? Yes. Then, yeah. Now let's see the value again. Oh, great. But now we can reuse this to print quite different data. For instance, here, I can change this to Donald Trump. Why not? And I can change this to Bill, and then to Gates, and I can change this to Jobs. How about now if we run, as you can see, we get different value. We've seen this? Oh, great. So we have now one function. Great. Let's comment this out. And
can I ask a question? Or
yes.
I understood that you combine together the first name and the last name, and you put also the brackets to store, like that you could also change it to, let's say, Donald Trump or whatever name you want. But I didn't understand why is there two lines between the plus? There's full name equal first name plus
This.
two line exactly. Like what is their function? What is their role?
Let's remove this. Okay, let's have only one, huh?
Yeah, I mean, like what's gonna happen if I'm gonna do like this, for instance?
Yeah, let's see what will happen, okay? Oh yeah. This doesn't sound a very good name, right?
Okay. So you need the space, for the space.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Add extra space. Or you can do also this with the previous method. We can use F, and then we can use this. We don't have to even use this class. Class is boring. And sorry. Or you can use this.
And then it's going to do it automatically without you.
Yes. Now let's do this. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Great. Now let's just comment this out and move on. Okay. Now let's add another example. This function is going to add two numbers. Again, def add two nums. Yeah, so as you may understand from the name of the function, what do you expect? What's the role of this function, guys? You tell me.
To make up, to plot, to combine two numbers, to do 1 + 1, let's say.
Yes, to add two numbers together. So we can say the total of this number, A plus B. But did I tell you that it's good? If you don't return, then that function is not doing any, good. So total, I'm just returning this value. And now let's make use of that. I can say print add two nums. And if 1 + 2, everybody knows, I think you should expect, yeah, what do you expect from here? And if you do this, I'm expecting from this 3 and from this 10. Let's see. Oh yeah, great. So our function is actually doing great. Yeah, now how about if we create a function that change a list to uppercase, okay? So this def, maybe I think that's too quick, maybe. How about if we do a function, sum def, sum all nums. The sum all nums is a function that adds from 0 to n. So for instance, if I give here 100, that means it should add from 0 to 100. So how do we do that? Okay, we have to have n, right? So then we have to loop through for I in range. If you remember, we have to add +1. And then we have to, maybe before I change it, I have to show you without a function. For I in range, right? And let's just do up to 10. And then print I. Let's see. Yeah, I'm printing it from, so our plan is now to add all the numbers from 0 to 10. But as you can see, we have to make it up to 11 if we want to add from 0 to 10, but because it's not inclusive, even though it's a range from 0 to 10. So I can say total is equal to 0. Since it's addition, we can start from 0. Total is equal to total plus I. And then I can say, now let's just print out sign. Total. And if you see 55, great. Yeah, now we can change this to a function. So def sum all nums, and then n is a placeholder. Here we were trying to sum all the numbers from 0 to 10, right? But now from 0 to n, unknown number of times. So I can say here n plus 1. Great. I hope that then let's just, and I have to just put this starting from 0 and from I. And yeah, I think this is good. But what we should return is actually total. Now we can see print sum all nums. So let's try by what's the range in 3. The range is actually the range. How many numbers do we have here? 0, 1, 2, 3, right? Yeah, so 0 plus 1, 1, 1 plus 2, 3, 6. I'm expecting 6. Oh yeah, then if I change this, now let's go to 10, I think 55, we don't need this. If you go up to 100, I think it's 50-50, so 5,050. Yeah. Did you get the point? Yeah, great, guys. So now if I ask you sum of all evens, it will be so easy to calculate because I have been showing sum of evens. Sum of evens, then you may go up to here. Then if it's even, you start from 0. And your increment will be 2, and then you should get the same. Now let's change this function, sum of evens. Yeah. The sum of evens, for instance, 0, 0, and 2, and so it should be only 2. And here we have how many numbers we have? 0, and 2, and 4, and 6, and 8, and 10 we have. So we have here actually 10, and here 10. Okay, so 30. Oh, great. So yeah, it works. Guys, are you following? Do you like these examples? Yeah, now we've been learning this. How about if we do something different? I want to go with, you know that I love this country's example, and I want to take this. How about maybe I can also have names. Names, and if I have a names, list of names, my name, and of course next Joe, Donald, and then Bill, and then Steve, whatsoever. Okay, now I want to create a function that change a list to uppercase. Okay, so I can call def change to uppercase, the name of the function. So change list to uppercase. List to uppercase. And then sometimes coming up with a very good function name is hard. So you might be better than me creating a better function name. Yeah. But the convention should be like this, snake case, or this like underscore. Okay. So it should take a list. Yeah. Then what we should do, a new list empty, and then we can say for item in list, then we can print it a new list to append. While we append, item should be changed to upper right. And then finally, we have to return it, new list. Great, this is very powerful. And now let's see, print, change this, and then you can pass it the countries disk, and then let's see. As you can see, oh yeah. And now also let's see by print, change, and then names, and the names should be also changed to. Yeah, great. What do you think? Let's practice more. Let's, our favorite is make square function. The make square function takes n, and actually it return just n times this. So you should be familiar with this function. I have been using it many times. If you were in the previous courses in the fundamentals, so we have been creating this function 100 times. What's the role of this function is actually to turn a number to its square. So let's make use of this. Print and then make square. The square of 2. Who doesn't know the square of 2? Everybody knows, right? Yes. What's the square of 2? Please tell me. I have to see it. Really? The square. It's not the square root. Okay, great. And we have to get 4. And how about the square of 3? Yeah. How about the square of, let me make it challenging. What's the square of 11? 121, right? Great, so this works. Can we use functions, for instance, for I in range. And I'm printing print make square of I. As you can see, I'm using my function inside the loop. Yeah, so whenever, as you can see, yes. Great. Now, how do we use default parameters? Yeah, for instance, if I ask you the weight of a body, on a planet, for instance, you can say def calculate weight, right? And to calculate a weight, we need mass and gravity, right? And then what we should do is weight is equal to mass times gravity. This is a very simple calculation. And then we just return the weight, yeah? But, you know, most of the time we'll not have a chance to go to other planets. And so most of the time it's going to be 9.81. So we don't have to provide gravity. So it's on planet Earth, we have this 9.8. So let's say print calculate. My mass is going to be, for instance, 75 kilogram, and I don't have to provide 9.8, and by default it will be 9.8. As you can see, 735.75. Great. But if I go to where I think is at the moon, let's see the moon. I think the moon's gravity, gravity of moon, yeah, 1.62. But you know, if I go to the moon, 162 by, let's see. As you can see, I am much lighter over there. Yeah, much lighter. Can we reduce? This is too long number. So we can use actually the round. So we can use the round round, you have that value, and I can round it to 2 significant digits, or maybe 1. As you can see now, I have 1, 2. Yes, because there's 0 for some reason, but why? It's just, let's see also to 1. Yeah, so 1 significant digit, or okay, great. That is a default value. Can we give default value for this one also? You can give a default value for that if you want. Yeah, no, so, but this is how you use. If you have a default value, yeah. Now I will calculate the how to generate just random ID. Def generate random ID. Yeah, I want to first create a kind of random ID and letters. Maybe I can print A, B, C, D, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, J, K, L, and O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. And again, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, and then O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. And 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we have about 26 plus 26, actually 52, 52 and 10, 62. We have 62. So if, to generate random ID with a mix of numbers and letters, so we have to have this first, right? But maybe I may ask you to generate 2 characters, 3 characters, or 4 characters. Yeah. So let's try. First, we can say, maybe I think this, we can give the name later. We can declare that, but just let's work without function, okay? Without function. So how about if I just say for I in letters, print I. One after another, I can print, as you can see, I managed to print all the letters. But how about if I want, instead, how about if I just go 6 times for I in range, and if I want to print letters and I. So I is going to be 0, something like that. So let's see what we get. As you can see, maybe I just got the first. I think it's better to comment out the previous code and you will not be confused with the output. So I will comment this out again up to here. Alt-Shift-A and everything will be commented out. Okay, now let's just print out again. Yes, this is the value A, B, C, D, E. Oh, great. As you can see, because this goes from 0 to 5, so this is the maximum, but it's A, B, C, D, E. It's not random. To create random, we have to import random, and from here, actually, we can access this random, randit, allow us to pass between, you know, we can, for instance, say we can print from 0 to 9. So it doesn't include the last. We can actually print, don't do that. Random value X, let's just call it X for the time being. We can actually create some value X. Let me show you like this. If I generate random between 10, but it's not between 10, instead, I want to calculate this, the length between 0 and 62. I can give it 62 like this, but that's not very smart. Instead, I can say the length of letters. Yeah, and it would be nice if I print X instead, even I call it index because it's going to be used as in index. Yeah, I'm giving it more readable name. Now, if you see, oh yeah, SEY9YJ, and if I write again, I'm getting a different value, as you can see. Oh yeah, but as you can see, I am printing out. I have to create some kind of concatenation. I call this ID, random ID, I call it, and something like this. And instead of like printing, how about concatenating every time? Random ID is equal to random ID plus this value. And now I can see what we stored over there. Let's see. Oh yeah, PP. It's, by the way, P is, it happens that P was selected 2 times just by chance. Yeah, as you can see, that's the random ID. Well, it's a kind of, yeah, it's, yeah, so.
Can I ask something?
Yeah.
After when you did index random run dent, what is run dent do?
Okay,
What is this role?
yes. Let me show you now. Print rand. I can just comment this out for the time being. Just comment this out. Do you know about random? This?
Yes, I know this. I know what is random do. It basically give you a random number.
Yes.
But I didn't understand why what I mean. I don't know the word in English. Random. Maybe just a word that I don't know, or it has some meaning. Why? Like.
I can explain you. Random means something with no any pattern, chance, by chance. That is.
Yeah,
yes.
I know what random mean, but like random dot randent. What is randent? Why can you say random dot random? Let's say.
Okay, good. We have random module. From random module, we have different submodules. For instance, just random dot random itself give us decimal numbers from 0 to 0.99, 0 to 0.99. Let me show you. Have you seen? Every time it gives you 0 to 0.99. Okay.
Yes.
How about print random dot rand int actually gives you 2. You can decide, for instance, if I say 5 and 10, it gives you a random number between 5 and 10.
Okay. So meaning a round number. It's only like instead of 0.5 or just 1 or yes. 2, not in the middle, like 1, not 1.5, let's say.
You know,
that's the random.
Integer. Random, but integer between this and this. You can decide whatever between 0 and 100. For instance, that means random integer. It should be an integer that starts from 0 to 100. Yep.
Okay. So basically, it's only an integer. Okay.
Because it says end. So most of the time when we use the methods, the name of the methods should also be indicative, as you can see here. So now the random number is actually 31, and it's inclusive actually. It includes this and this. Let's see. To see the inclusiveness, I can limit it to up to 2. How many chances do I have now? 0, 1, and 2. So it's easy to see the chance. As you can see now, 1, 2, and then 0. So as you can see, it's inclusive. It includes 0 and 2. Then now let's come back to our own code because everybody got what that means. So since it's inclusive, we have to subtract 1 from the range. So what are we generating from? 0 to 32. Yeah, because the total length of this one is actually 32. Length of this means 32 minus 1, because if there is no 32. Sorry, guys, it's not 62. I mean, this is 62 because we have 26, yeah, and 26, and 52 plus 0 to 9, that's 10, and in total it's actually 62. So the length of the letters minus 1, the last index should be 61, not 60. So that's why we managed to generate this. And now let's change this to actually a function, def generate random user ID. It's a very long name. Sometimes I make some long names, so we have to indent it properly. Python needs indentation, and so I have to put something like this. And now instead of printing, I have to return it. If I go print generate random ID, and does it take parameter? No, it doesn't take for the time being. It just generate all the time 6 digits. Or oh, what? Because I forgot to use. Have you seen none? I told you that a function, a Python function, return none if you don't return some data type. Now I am actually returning this string. Okay, let's do that. Yeah, I'm getting that value. But now, you know, developers may need different kind of ID. It could be longer, it could be short. So let's give it actually size. Okay, what size do you can call it size, or maybe n. How many lengths, how long do you want it to be? Then by changing this n times. So n times, let's see, I can take 10 digit or maybe 32 digit. Then I can say, oh, have you seen? I got a very long, and maybe you might be interested at 24. It can just generate for you whatever length ID you want. But sometimes, you know, you want to make your function robust. By default, let's make it to generate 6 digit like this. Okay, then when the user doesn't pass any argument, so it will generate the default six digit user ID. I clicked over there. As you can see, 6 digit. Oh, great. Let's do more. Oh, yeah. I hope this elaborates how to use a function. And let's have a 10 minutes break. And then after that, we will continue also with some properties of function. And then after that, we will move on to list comprehension. Yeah, I will see you after the break, and let's have a 10 minutes break. Welcome back, everybody. So now I would like to talk about arbitrary number of arguments, functions that take number of arguments. So for instance, I may remind you that the function max, it just take an arbitrary number of arguments, right? What's the -2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, whatsoever, right? I can put arbitrary number of parameters inside the max built-in function. So how can we make a custom function that take arbitrary number of arguments? How many arguments do we have here? I can see 3, 6, 9 totally, right? And what's the maximum here? I think the maximum looks 8. Yep. So this is how we do. I will show you. So def, and I call this function, for instance, sum all some numbers. I mean, some numbers. I can say some numbers. This may have just and maybe just create the function over here and put some nums over here. And if I print the value of nums, I will show you. And if I call that function sum of numbers, and let me just put something here. 1 and 1, okay? So I think you may expect that if I print this, I mean, if I pass here as 1 as in argument, so since I'm printing it over here, you should expect 1, right? Yeah, that's obvious. But if I put 10, you may expect 10 over here. Yeah, 10. But there is this symbol, the star sign, when we put, it allows us to pack them together. That means if I put, like, for instance, 1, 2, 3, 4, this, the star, allows me to create these guys to be tuple. Oh, really? Let's see. Oh, yeah. Have you seen? This is coming from here. Let's see. Let's see from here. Sometimes you may do some kind of indicator or label, something like this. Let's see from here. You saw the tuple, right? Great. So then let's change this instead of nums. It could be params might be better, or maybe args is much better, something like that. So the arguments, the placeholder we are going, whatever, you can call it a whatsoever, but usually. So now let's see. Again, print args. Of course, I'm expecting that the same thing. Now we can loop through these args. Oh yes, it's because it's a tuple. Let's do for I in, and then just print I one after another, right? What's K? Where does that K comes? No one knows. As you can see, we managed to print 1, 2, 3, 4. Great. So now it's time to sum them all. So I can say, what the reason why I'm not using sum, it's already a reserved word, and I don't like to override a built-in function already. So I prefer to say total, and then I can start from 0, and then I can add this value total is equal to total plus I every time, and then we have to return the total. Yeah. So now we have to print this. If we don't print, we don't see the output, right? Now, as you can see, we managed to get the sum of this. Can we add extra? Minus 100, 250, 300, minus 50, whatsoever we can add. Yeah, the result is this. So this another way to write, a shorter way to write the same thing. We can do something like this, okay? Yeah, so this is what I wanted to show you. How about if we want to do for dictionaries, maybe if I would take a dictionary somewhere, if there's a dictionary already here. Okay, please don't go away, stay in here, because I want you to be in the lesson from the beginning to the end and you don't miss anything. Okay, I think it should be somewhere else then. List comprehension part could have that. I'm looking for a dictionary of, yeah, okay. I'm looking, if I go to dictionaries, I can get built-in dictionary. Oh, yeah, this is a dictionary. Yes, so everybody is aware of a dictionary. So as you can see, this is a dictionary. Do you see? Okay, how do we use to destructure, for instance, this dictionary? Let me show you. For def get person info, and I may just say this allow us. I will show you how this the two star works. We call it most of coworks. I don't know why this a key. I think we call it just coworks, and then print the keywords. Can't call it any name, by the way, but then let's print this. I mean, let's just get person info. Oh no, get person info, and let's pass the person dictionary. As you can see, I have the person dictionary over here. And if I print out, what? Get person info. Ticks. Okay. Sometimes, you don't have to remember everything. So I can go for documentation. I have this, for instance. So this, the star sign, sometimes using for packing and sometimes it's used for unpacking in different condition. And for instance, when we were using here, the star, actually we packed this together to a tuple. So now let's see the purpose of the two stars, this, whenever we pass. Yes, sorry for that. So this allow us to change something like this. Yeah, maybe I can just a bit change a bit differently. So actually it should be something like this. If we pass, for instance, first name, first name, and last name. I will show you here. We don't need this now. And let's see what we get here. Have you seen now? I just have such a kind of parameters, but the two stars changed this value to what? It changed to, as you can see, a dictionary. That's the point. So if we keep doing this, for instance, the skills, and if I just, maybe I think I shouldn't have, yeah, maybe I can just copy this and put it here, the skills, for instance, and we don't have to, but equal sign. So it's a kind of a default value, but actually it just create a dictionary for us. Yeah, let's create this dictionary actually, copy. And now last, and then yes, welcome. Yes. Okay, can we give it like this? Here we can make is married. Oh yeah, okay, yes, true. And again, I think this is good enough already. Of course, I can also give this and see what it looks like. And of course, the address should be something different like this. Oh yeah, now I don't need this. As you can see now, this variable and the variable and the value, if you use this, the coargs, or this is not a fixed word, or I mean a predefined word, you can just call it whatever. Params, and then what you get is actually, yep, kind of a dictionary. So if you want it to be, if you want it to look good, you can use this, the p print. Did we print? We can import from p print, import p print. Yes. As you can see, now we managed to create a dictionary from the arguments we provide to the function. So what's the role of this single star? It packs these arguments to a tuple, and here the two stars allow us to pack these values and variables or parameters and values to a dictionary. Maybe I can leave a kind of allow the arguments to dictionary. And here the single star allows us to the arguments to a tuple, right? And then after that, you can iterate the values. I think this is all what you need related to function. Maybe the last, not the least, let's talk about lambda function. Oh, really? Lambda. Yeah, in other programming language, for instance, in JavaScript, we call this anonymous function, a function that doesn't have any name. Anonymous function. Okay, so how do we create this anonymous function? We can say lambda x is equal to x this. Actually, this means make square. So I can just, and how do we call this function? How do we pass the argument? Of course, the parameter is, as you can see, you have x, and then you make the x square, but we have to store it. Let's store the value maybe in some yeah, func. This is a function actually. I gave it the name func. So to make use, let's call the func, and the func, if I pass 2, what do you expect, guys? Oh, maybe I can call it lambda func. Lambda func. It's a fancy name, right? It's even sound different. Okay, lambda. Okay. Oh yeah, 4. Yeah, if I give it 3, you may expect 9. Oh, great. Oh, this lambda, maybe we can even change. How about if I have x, y, and maybe I can say 2 times x plus 3 times y. So now I want you to calculate the value. What's the value? You tell me. $12, great. 2 times x, we have 3. 2 times 3, 6. Great. Remember, we have 16 here. And then 3 times y, y is 2. 3 times 2, 6. 6 plus 6, 12. Let's run it. Oh, yeah. So we can we, how about if we change it a bit differently? How about like this? How about this? Plus 10. Now I want you to tell me the value of this. $25. X squared, that means 3 to the power of 2, 9. Remember we have 9 here. X times y, that means 2, 3 times 2, 6. 6 and 9, 15. 15 plus 10, 25. Let's run it. Yes, now may I tell you that you know how to use Lambda function. Great. We are done with function. Let's move on to list comprehension, and it's going to be very, very good.